What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Wheels Fall Off podcast. I am your host, Candace, also known as Spice from SpiceLifeTv, and this is my beautiful husband and co-host, Creed.
Hey, baby. Hey. What's up, world? I'm Creed, and it's the podcast where we discuss relationships and reintegration, particularly as it pertains to incarcerated individuals and their families.
And why is that, babe?
Because I did 23 years in prison for a crime I didn't commit. Mm-hmm. And the whole time, this lady was riding with me the whole way. And during that time, we fought for justice and we fought for love and we fought for the opportunity to reintegrate in a successful way. And we doing it.
We did. We did that every day. And we're going to do that until the wheels fall off. And we want y'all to come with us.
That's right.
So let's go.
Let's get it.
All right, babe. So you ready to get into this episode?
Let's get into it, baby.
We're going to start off with what we start off a lot of times, which is our highlights and heartbreaks. Mm-hmm. So I typically start that off. Why don't you start it off this week? You have a highlight or do you have a heartbreak?
You know, people would view it was a heartbreak, and people would view it as probably like not a big deal, but to me it was a big deal. You know, I had an incident at work this week, you know, and I felt like it was something that it was something somebody did that I didn't like, I didn't particularly like, and I didn't handle it the way I would have handled it in the past, but I felt like it. And so the heartbreaking thing was, number one is old monsters revisiting me, you know, up here and stuff. And then secondly is that I felt for a long time, for a few days, there was no recourse. Like I couldn't do anything because I'm used to handling things a certain way and I refused to do that. So the heartbreaking thing was like having that feeling and having to eat that feeling while at work and being around people and all that. And it was almost like, you know, we've talked before how since I've been home, sometimes I feel displaced, you know what I'm saying? And it was like, that was like the crowning moment of that displacement. It was like you out here by yourself.
Because you felt like that because everything in you wanted to do something that you normally would do in like your old life.
Yes.
And now you're trying to live in this new life where you don't handle things like that.
Well, you don't handle things like that. And for two reasons. Number one, I don't want to be that person no more. So that's the first thing. And then number two, of course, I don't want to do anything to put myself in a position to ever go back. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, just having to live with that and eat that, you know, and there was no choice but to eat that because we're not doing the old life stuff, right? So eating that was just kind of like, it was heartbreaking. Yeah. It really was. It was like, man, I don't know if I can live with this for another 10 minutes, let alone the rest of the day or the rest, you know.
I'm sorry, babe. I know. I saw that really play on you this week. Yeah. But I will say I'm so proud of how you handled it.
Oh, I appreciate it.
I know it ate at your guts.
It did. It still does. It still does. So that was the heartbreaking thing. And like I said, when old monsters come and visit you and stuff like that, you start to remember certain similar instances in my past. And so stuff I haven't thought about in a long time that I did to people, you know what I'm saying? And handling my business the way I used to handle it. So it's like, damn. So I had to sit with that a little bit, you know? And yeah, I mean, it's my past. So I had to do that, but it doesn't always rear its ugly head like it did this week. But we good though. We here, and we here till the wheels fall off. So
I'm proud of you.
Fuck them.
And we both have seen in our life, every time someone has crossed us, what happens?
They get it, and we don't have to handle it.
They get it. We don't have to do nothing.
Nah, God's got our back.
It's a waiting game, and we just have to wait it out. But they always get what they got coming.
100%.
So I just let it be like, you know, this is on. We got this to look forward to.
For sure. For sure.
That's good.
Yeah, babe, my hands ashy.
Oh my God, I was gonna say that while you were talking. I was like, look at
my joints. You got some Eucerin?
Okay. You ain't gonna just be waiting to use my good Eucerin on this. Ooh.
Okay. All right.
That's what they think. That's what the bottle thinks about you waiting to get on camera.
No, that's what the bottle was thinking about you talking that shit just now.
When you were talking, I was like, "There's some ashy hands," but let me get them out.
He was letting me live. I ain't even got taking a shower as an excuse this time.
Know.
I'm fresh from work though.
Just dirty.
I'm fresh from making that money.
He was making that money.
Yeah. So, but thank you, baby.
Okay.
All right, let's get cracking.
You don't have a heartbreak or a highlight?
I mean, highlight is mostly that we made it here.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
With the way the week has been.
The week's been heavy, but not in a bad, nothing to complain about. Just a lot.
Yeah, just a lot.
Just a lot.
All the time.
All the time, yeah.
And it almost feels like you're dealing with life as with anybody, I'm not saying anybody's life any different, but it just, for me personally, it felt like you're dealing with life, and then when you get a moment to sit down, you fall asleep and wake up and do it all over again. Like there was no chill.
Right.
You know? And so, and it's like, damn. And sometimes that can make shit daunting, you know? But like I said, we here. You know, worse for the wear.
Well, I have a highlight.
Tell me about it.
It's actually about a week old, but it's still something I keep thinking about because it was so much fun. And I just enjoyed how I felt during the whole thing. So about a week ago, almost 2 weeks, Pookie invited me to go with him on a day trip. He had one of his jobs that had to go down to Oregon, and it was a couple hours away. And he invited me to go ride down with him. And so I love a good day trip. Like that is I just love a good day trip, especially when I don't have to drive and I could just look out the window and feel the breeze and I'm like a dog hanging its head out the window. And I knew he had a lot of work to do, and I had brought stuff so that I could work too while I was in the car. And we still had a very productive work day, but we were just together doing it. And I had so much fun.
I had no idea you was gonna like it that much.
I had so much fun. I have been asking him, like, when he's going out of town, I'm like, can I go? And he's like, well, not this one, or whatever the reason. I can't go all the time. And there's been a couple times that I've gone, but this was just kind of, he told me like a day or two before, and he followed through with it. It was like, yeah, let's go. We leaving at 4:30 in the morning, so it's dark outside. It was like we was really going on a little trip. I don't know. It was one of those things, those moments where I could look at it and be like, this is an answered prayer. This is something that, no, I didn't pray specifically for that thing, but just the opportunity to have like moments of just us whisking off together and forgetting about the world for a little bit, still taking care of our business, hustling, grinding, doing all those things together. And we got to do all that in the same day. It was just fun. Listen,
I knew you was chilling, but I knew you was relaxed when I was rolling. So you know me, I come from one of the sites that we stopped at. Boom, I get back in the truck, and you know me, I just boom, started up and I'm pushing. And it's not till I got to the freeway and I looked over and you had your feet up on my dash, and I was just like, oh, she's really relaxed. You know what I'm saying?
I was working. I had some stuff on my phone I was working and doing, and I had my little iPad, and I just was in my zone, working like I would normally work, but in the car with him on the go. It was like, ooh, we out here.
You crazy.
I really, like, that's the life I really want to live, where we're just on the go, but like, actually that's what's making us the money. I don't know. I think that's so much fun.
I'm glad you had fun. Like I said, I didn't have any idea you was going to enjoy it that much.
Blast. I love spending time with you. You know that. But like anytime we get to do something that's out of the normal or out of just our normal that we never got to do, it's always just like a
yeah. Absolutely.
I'm always so excited about it. Yeah. So
for sure.
Take me anywhere. It don't take much to make me excited, but when I get there, I'm there.
You were excited. I'm with that. Okay, so you had a highlight, an individual highlight. I had an individual heartbreak. Now it's time for the couple highlight.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this week I was able to take my baby to a baseball game. A major league baseball game.
It was so much fun.
And my Dodgers, my boys came to town to whoop some ass.
Yeah, they did.
Right? And so yeah, I got to see him. That's my first major league game since I was like 5 years old, and I don't even really remember it. So I'm at the game and I'm experiencing it, right? I got the garlic fries.
Oh, we had the garlic fries.
Crispy garlic fry. I ate way too much. But
2 sausage links with peppers, but 2 couple beers.
2 big, juicy, wet sausage links. Them joints was big. He pulled them out the beer batter or whatever and put it right on the bun.
He gave one of them for us for free.
Yeah, he did.
And I think it was just because we were a black couple. I honestly think
you didn't see. We saw one.
We saw one
the whole time we was there. And so, yeah, I ate way too much. And baby was there and she was enjoying it. And I got to sit there and explain baseball to my lady a little bit. So that was dope. Yeah. And then the atmosphere itself was cool because we were sitting in the section, even though the Dodgers was the away team, the section we was in was all Dodger fans. So we was just get cracking. Everybody was cheering at the same thing. And then remember when the players came out and the guy threw the ball up in the stands? And you seen it coming and you didn't even try to get the ball.
No, it was coming right at us. And I was like,
and if I'd have reached for it, I'd have spilled somebody's drink, so I just let it go. But it was a dope experience.
It was so dope. It came right in our section. The guy right behind us and 2 people over caught the ball.
Yeah.
We just had a good time.
And you know me, babe. You know I don't like crowds, right?
Yeah.
So the whole time, even though I'm excited if I still decide to go into a crowd like that, and it wasn't as bad as thought it was.
No, that stadium does a good job at like there's a ton of people there, but you don't ever feel like you're like stuck.
Yeah.
Or sandwiched in.
100%.
I like that one.
Like, and then the atmosphere was, you seen there's a gang of people there who wasn't even watching the game. They were just walking around and eating at the vendors.
Fights. There was a couple fights down in the little bar standing area. These girls.
It was going down.
These girls were trying to fight, and the one girl had like 3 dudes holding her back because she was just like, "Wah!" And then she got loose and got around the guy and started to like do the big walk, but she was waiting for them to tackle her again, and they did it. And then she got loose and realized nobody was coming, and then she just turned around and walked back.
Yeah, she was like,
girl, you did not want that smoke.
Suckerville. She was a sucker. I remember that too.
That was funny.
But we enjoyed ourselves immensely, and by the time we got home, I was sick for all the food I ate, all that ballpark food. But I probably would do it again the same way.
Babe, this is what I'll say. And I don't want to say this like a lot of people don't feel this way, I'm sure. And I hope that they do. But I really enjoy my husband.
I enjoy my wife.
I enjoy you. Like, I have a good time with you all the time. There's always something new. There's something exciting. Even if we don't understand it, or like the parking thing. At first, that was kind of a dilemma because we're like, oh God, it's going to be nuts. Should we take the train up there? Should we Uber? All of those things. And no matter what we decided, it was like, we're experiencing this together. And then we decide from there on, how do we handle when we go to the games? Like, it's our first time figuring out what our routines are going to be.
Yeah.
I love making those, like, just those little things with you, because it's like, this is my partner and we are learning what we're going to do for the rest of our lives together.
Yeah,
this is just one of those things that we're getting to do with each other.
We're figuring out what we enjoy. And, so it's in the world, I'm going to tell y'all right now, like, some people may be sitting around and be like, yeah, I went to a game. So what? Like, please understand the normal stuff is the stuff that is highlighting for us, and that's why we share it with you, because sometimes the normal stuff people take for granted.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when you hear somebody who's not experienced that as a couple, and then they're experiencing it for the first time, and we damn near 30 years into this relationship, it's enlightening. Yeah. So that was a couple highlight for me. I like that. That was dope. I'll do it again.
I would too. All right, so let's get into the next segment of the show, and we are going to do our Ice Grills. This week, the Ice Grills question is specific to me. And I don't think I've had one specific to me yet.
I don't think so either. No, you haven't.
But I've gotten this question a lot in my personal life, so I thought, okay, let's go ahead and attack it. So the question is, Spice, how did you do the time? How'd you stay with him? How'd you stick through? How did you do this time with that man?
How did you?
Well, I will say this. This is what I always, if I ever get the chance to answer this question, this is what I always say. The first thing is, I knew that this man was innocent for the crime that he was being charged of. And because of that and our relationship that we had, he was my friend. So I'm going to support my friend. It started off with just me supporting and having my friend's back. And then when the conviction came, there was never a time after they said we sentenced him to 26 years that I said, oh, he's going to serve 26 years. I don't think either one of us ever thought that one time. What started was, we knew that after they said the conviction, that we had to start appealing. And that was the fight process. So long story short, the reason I was really honestly able to do that time, especially in the beginning, is because it was supposed to be short term. And I wasn't doing 26 years. I was fighting the appeal that was going to bring him home, because I knew he was innocent. So my plan was, or my thought the whole time was like, okay, they say that this is when you get the conviction, we find out that you file appeal. It takes about a year, maybe sometimes 2, to get that information back. Was it that long the first time? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was like a year for the first one.
And you know that's how long you have to wait for that. So that's what we hunkered down for, was that year to 2 years. When that first year to 2 years came and they denied that, we knew we had to fight the next appeal, which was going to be maybe 2 to 3 years. So it was just me focusing in for those small segments of time that we were having to work towards. So it was like, here is the goal. Here is the problem. let's work at it and fight at it. And that's all we put our energy to. I wasn't looking at the long picture, the big picture, because that was so daunting and so unimaginable. I just still don't even know that the fact that we did all that time, I would have lost every penny I ever earned in my life, because I never thought we would do it. Yeah. But I was never signing up for 26. I was signing up to win the next appeal that was bringing you home.
Right.
There were periods of time, though, where we had long periods where there was not an appeal to fight, or we were just waiting. And you just kind of have to decide, like, okay, we're going to just keep rolling with this until the next thing we can fight happens. But I didn't get down to that until probably, I would think, like year 8 or 9. Because those first few years, we had pretty good action. We were always working on something.
Right.
And then it wasn't until maybe there was a time where it just, you were either time barred on everything, or there was no new issues, no new laws passed. And at that point, it's not a question of just like, oh, this is too hard, let me just leave. Because my heart's attached. I love him. I believe in him. I believe in what we're building together. And you're at your worst. I can't just walk away because it's inconvenient for me. It was inconvenient. It was incredibly hard, but there was a loyalty there. And there was no, but he's my guy. Like, I can't leave him down here in the war. Like, we in this war now together. And at some point, it just became like, no, we're in here. I'm doing this with you. And people even make comments, because I'd be like, yeah, we're in year 12. We've done 15 years of this 20-something year. And I'm saying we, because, yeah, I'm in that shit too.
Yeah.
I've done 100%. Every single day of that too. So I think there was a time where I had to click the decision to say, like, this is what I'm going to do and ride this out. But that was not until many, many, many years in. It started off with me just fighting with you to win the appeal.
I mean, it doesn't matter if you were just waiting for the next appeal or not. It's still amazing. An amazing, amazing feat that you did.
Well, thank you. And yes, I agree.
Yeah, you should. Yeah,
so hopefully that answers that. If I didn't get you the part you were looking for, leave it in the comments, because I don't mind answering a question, especially a follow-up question. So just let us know.
Do you like a follow-up question?
I do. I really do. All right, let's get into the episode.
Let's do it.
So this episode, the topic we've kind of been it wasn't like we're avoiding the topic. It's come up a few times. I just think we were trying to figure out exactly how we wanted to address the topic. A lot of people have asked us, how was your family support through the whole time? Specifically to him, like, where was his family at then? Where are they at now? But I've gotten a lot of that. Like, Candace, how was your family support? Or Spice, what was your family's thoughts when you started doing this with him? And were they, supportive?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that.
Let's do it. You want me to start?
Do you want to start?
No, I want you to start. Always ladies first for me.
Okay, so if I'm just going to answer the question, was my family supportive of our relationship? I would probably, just as a general across the board, I'd have to say no. They were not supportive. I had pockets of support. I had pockets of people who would pop in a few times. I think some of my cousins, they came like 4 or 5 times. I had a grandma that came to visit. My brother came once. But as far as my family, my dad came a few times too. But, and it was everybody who came, it was a very small amount of times for the amount of time he was in there. But I get it too. It's prison. Nobody's excited to go to prison. But just as far as support for me, as someone who's supporting someone in prison, I would say I don't feel like my family supported me at all through this whole thing.
I'd agree.
I don't think that was what I got. I have to say too, so only some of my family knew about you for a long time. And that was my family on my mom's side. They're the ones that knew. My mom was the one that was supportive of our relationship. And they had an issue with that. They had an issue of that when she was alive and when she passed away. But they didn't say a lot when she was alive because, my mom. And then it was when she passed away and it was just me and you kind of doing our thing. It was a lot of probably just out of concern and not understanding and wanting to be like, you're so young. You should be exploring and seeing other things. And they just didn't respect the fact that I had made my decision or I was standing on this decision. which was always so interesting to me because I made my decision and I decided I was going to stick with you and that was what we're going to do. And not one time did they embrace that. Yet, you know, everybody else had boyfriends and girlfriends and people coming and going all these years and people they're getting Christmas cards. They're getting invited to holidays as the person's partner and being included. And it was years before anybody even acknowledged that we were a couple. Anybody even said like, oh, you and Creed or put our names on a card together.
That's crazy.
Like nobody acknowledged our relationship forever. But on the flip side, on my dad's side, I didn't tell a lot of them because they just were not supportive people, period. And they're very judgmental. My grandparents on my dad's side were, they just were very judgmental. And I did not want to have the hassle of having that conversation every single time that I talked about anything in my life. So not a lot of them knew about you for a long time. And even the ones that did, it was so taboo, I guess. They never asked or inquired. My family's just not like that.
Yeah.
They will see something and let it be seen and nobody say a thing again. Or if they don't understand it, they're not asking to understand it. They'll pretend like it's not even something that's happening. Or they'll seem to, even if it doesn't make sense, even if it's not healthy, even if it's not good, but because it looks like everything else people accept as normal, they stand behind and support that and rally and do all the things you would do as this family. But here I am over here just by myself on an island all this time. And it really, for years, like I became isolated from them. I isolated myself from them. It broke my heart so many times because I just felt like I wasn't enough or worthy for their attention or their just anything. A lot of therapy, a lot of self-esteem work, a lot of self-worth work to just learn my own self-value because I didn't get that from my family. They did not instill that in me. And I think it was specifically because of you. But just as support for me being Candace and learning her way, no. Yeah. I don't think I got that.
I hate that you went through that by yourself. And
I'm at the point now where it's not that I'm not upset anymore, like I'm mad or hurt. Well, there's still some hurt there, but it's not anger anymore. I know that it's hurt because it's like, why wasn't I ever good enough? Why was I not worthy enough? Why was it you would spend all the time and energy with this or this situation? But I'm not worthy. And that was the start of them showing me that I wasn't worthy. And it just continued for years and escalated to a point where it was clear that I was not of value to my family. And that changed a lot of my thoughts, my ideas, how I just focus my life or how I just operate. Because, yeah, it was very, me just being out here.
Very lonely existence, huh? Especially when you have family that's real close as far in proximity to you. Like it's not like
proximity and like the appearance of us is really close. And here's what I'll say. I have the kind of family that, so I don't want to trash them and say they're not supportive across the board. If I was hungry, I never had to be hungry. I knew I could go to get food. If I needed a place to stay, I knew I could go to get some place to stay. So my main needs, I knew that they would help me with those. It was the heart stuff. It was the soul stuff. It was the real life stuff. It was the stuff that I needed guidance through that they just kind of left me hanging. And like I said, I'm not mad anymore because I realized that I'm sure did the best that they could. I don't think there was any maliciousness. I think there was maybe some ignorance and just a lack of understanding or just know-how. And
some disregard.
And just a lot of disregard. Yeah. Not some. There was a lot of disregard. And that was the part that hurt me so bad was because it was like, why am I so discardable? And even now, sometimes I still just feel like the attention that we got and the love and the support that we got, I feel like it came because it would have made them look away if it hadn't come. Because my life is now in loud and living color. But it was hard to accept it at first because it's like, I've been here this whole time, like needing help, needing support, needing people to just acknowledge my existence. And now because there's like these shiny, it's got this glitz and glam and sparkles around it. Now everybody wants to act like they're so, oh, we're so happy for you. And then what happened? Everybody's happy, and where'd they go? Disappeared.
Again.
It's like cockroaches. The light came on and they gone again. And I'm not surprised, but that's just always what I've gotten. I think that's just where their cap is. I got you if you're hungry. I got you if you need your someplace to stay. But as far as that all that life stuff you got to work through, yeah, you figure that one out.
Yeah.
You go ahead and figure that out on your own, because we ain't got stuff for you on that one.
Yeah.
It's typical. I think typical Black family. If you're the one that's the problem, you're the one that's easily just being like, let's just ignore that one. Let's push that one to the side. And I feel like I've always been the problem.
Yeah, but I'll say put them in air quotes.
I'm learning that they're
not actually the problem.
That I'm not actually the problem.
Yeah.
But I internalized that. And I took that on, and I made that a part of this character of me always being the problem, or me always having to minimize what I need because the people around me could not give it to me or just weren't willing to. So I took that on and started making myself smaller and want less and need less because they would just be like, no, And that was so much rejection for me and so hard that I just was like, let me just be less seen with them, or let me be less of this. But anytime, to this day, anytime I say to my family, you made me feel this way, or I don't like that you did this to me, I am the problem. It's never what I'd say. It's never what's coming out of my mouth. It's either how I said it or who I'm saying it to is the issue. And that's where it starts and stops.
Well, you understand that with this particular situation, you know, you're the one that opens your mouth, right? And when you have a family dynamic where that's not the culture, yeah, you're going to be viewed as the problem. The culture is we see, we hear, but we don't speak on it. You know, we see, we hear, we don't speak, and we don't act on it. You know, it is what it is. And so then you have this one person who's not with the culture, who's not with that dynamic. Yeah, you're going to be viewed as the problem, but that's why anybody who talks about self-esteem and all that type of stuff always lets you know that you have to know your worth because nobody else is going to. You know, and that's the prime example why. Because if you didn't know your worth, then you would take that on as you did when you were younger.
Oh, I took it on for years.
Yeah, you would take it on and then you will be wearing it all the time, wondering why nobody wants you around, or nobody likes you, or nobody respects your opinion, or nobody cares what happens to you. You'd be wondering that all the time.
Like, I love my family. I will always, if they need something and I can do it within my means, I will definitely do that. But I'm not going to extend myself to where it's no longer service to me.
Yeah.
Because for so many years, I was trying to keep them in my circle and not realizing they didn't care if I was in theirs. I was trying to stay involved and make sure that I was a part and showing up and like trying to get to have my place and make sure they knew, like, no, see, I show up, I'm here, I'm there, I'm da-da-da-da-da. And it wasn't until you know, what was it? The episode of 2008, the saga of 2008. Yeah. And they really showed me who they were. Every single one of them did. Yeah. And from then on, we've of course have made that kind of amends to the much as amends as we can. But that was a complete change for me. And it took years for me to get to that change, but it helped me see, like, family is just that. That does not mean that they give any more F's about you than the next person, especially if it's what they need to do for you makes their life a little difficult. As much as I was trying to show up for them and ride and die and show, like, I got you, I'm going to do this for you. When it was time for that to happen for me, nobody showed up. It was crickets. And I literally was left alone for years. And everybody can pretend like that wasn't the case, but I was left alone. And it was literally, I picked that one. It's easier. I'm going to pick that one over you. And from then on, that was one of the reasons why I was so okay and wanted to do a surprise wedding, because I didn't want to have to go through the tradition of including people and doing all these ceremonial things of people that didn't hold that spot for me and didn't do those things for me when it was necessary.
Yeah.
So now on the day of, you just get to do that. It bothers me. It bothers me sometimes still, but it bothered me. It hurt me so bad for a long time.
I know it did.
For a long time, because it just felt like you don't have to agree with my man being in prison, but why is that okay, but this isn't okay? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Because it's easy.
It's easy.
It's easy. You know, it's crazy is that basically, you would like for somebody to say, I don't care about you, or I don't fuck with you. Mm-hmm. And it's a case of saying one thing and doing another, because what actually happened was they're saying, I do care about you, and then acting like they don't. Mm-hmm. And then that's kind of, that's fucks with your mental. So the company line, or in this case, the family line, is we stick together. We're this family, we're the family, and we stick together. We're always there for each other, this, that, and the third.
That's the image we've always had amongst everybody we were around. It's this tight-knit family.
Right. So then you buy into it because you grew up in that. Mm-hmm. And then once you buy into it and you don't see that, it's like, damn, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck am I into right here?
And it was the times that I didn't see it were the times it's like crisis, trauma. My mom died. 2008 happened. Mm-hmm. All these different things happened that are big deals. My dad, all of those things. Mm-hmm. And I'm supposed to see this thing that we've been preaching, or that everybody thinks that we are. Mm-hmm. And none of that's happening. None of it, there's no rally behind me. It feels like, like none of the facade is what we really had when it came down to the meat and potatoes of it all. Mm-hmm. And so that was a culture shock for me, and just an identity shock for me. Like, I had to really figure out what my identity was, because what I thought it was in these people, and that wasn't accurate.
Right.
And, I don't know if I've shared too much, but I have shared that my mom passed away. When my mom passed away, my mom and dad were actually still married. They were high school sweethearts and were married to the day that she died. However, now that of course I'm older and looking back at their marriage, I don't think they were happily married for a long time, like years, if not, I don't know. But when my mom passed away, my dad really just acted
a donkey. He acted a damn donkey.
He didn't act like we were his priority at all. When my mom died, everything connected to her, including her kids, he discarded. Literally just kind of threw us away. And it was kind of he threw us away. We were holding on, especially me. Mm-hmm. So he's walking away and I'm just like holding on, like, wait, don't go.
Which is very telling about what you just said about not thinking they were really happy. Because if he was like, into your mom like he should have been, he would have held on to the one thing that she was a part of still.
No, my dad literally, this is what he said. She died, and probably 3 days after her funeral, he took us to the ocean, me and my brother and sister, and he told us, I don't think my mom had been buried even a week. And he said that he had come to resolve with it, and that he was finished mourning her, and that from that moment on, he was moving on. And so, I don't really know what that means exactly, except I know my dad's gone through something traumatic, and I'm the oldest, so I'm thinking like he's just having a hard time. No, that nigga meant that. Yeah. He was like, I'm done.
He was serious.
If you don't realize I'm done and y'all ain't done either, y'all gonna have to go too. And that's really basically what happened. It was a trickle down of me trying to hold on to him forever. And then finally just realizing like, he don't want you.
Yeah.
So that whole part was very traumatizing. And the whole time I'm trying to hold on to the other side of my family, thinking like, but see, they're the ones that are holding me down. Mm-hmm. Because I got this dude that's out loud being a donkey. Like everything he does is donkey. Mm-hmm. Like,
Yeah.
But the other side I'm leaning towards, because I'm like, they're the same. They're the safe. They're what I know. But I'm leaning over there, going into that realizing like, y'all over here talking all this mess about my dad, who we know that's true. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And y'all running the streets talking about him. Like, I heard all the stuff y'all say about my dad. Yet we got the same drama in the family, which one of y'all's people, and y'all don't say a thing. Mm-hmm. Yet y'all talk so bad about mine. What's the difference? And why am I now trying to lean over here to y'all, and because y'all are saying he's bad, which I agree, but you're not saying he's bad. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, so then how am I supposed to trust who?
Yeah.
Where do I fit here? Because y'all got the same crap, and you're saying we're loving and supporting and holding this one up, but we gonna talk all kind of bad about this one. I don't know where I'm supposed to be. Like, what is happening here?
Yeah. You know what's crazy is that when you was talking earlier about your family, you always had a place to sleep. You always had some food if you needed it. If there was a crisis and people need to put their money together, they would have done it in a heartbeat. So what that does is that gives you this sense of security, but you don't realize it's false until something actually worth fighting for happens and nobody fights for you. Because in those instances that you named, it feels like they're fighting. You don't have a place to stay. You come here, I'm fighting for you, girl. I got you. You was doing your thing and getting all your shit together. And if like I said, something happened, you know that they would let's make sure you was taken care of.
Absolutely.
But then when something real happened, something that could affect your mental and how you felt about yourself and your self-esteem.
Something that devastated family ties.
Yes.
It will never be the same.
Exactly. Nobody was there.
And they just let it was like, we're just going to let it roll. Let's just let it ride. That was so extremely devastating for me.
Yeah.
So I think I had started to say about the thing with my mom passing away. So this is the other element to the whole thing that's always just been hard for me. As soon as my mom dies, okay, so I'm the oldest of my parents' kids. There's 3 of us. I'm the oldest, and I'm the oldest on my dad's side of the family. I'm the oldest grandchild, and then I'm the 3rd oldest on my mom's side. When my mom passed, my mom was very much like the matriarch of the family. She was just the one that held everything together. People went to her. She was just like the holder of all the things. Even my grandma, who should be the matriarch, but everybody went to my mom. And not that I don't think that they started coming to me as like they would go to her for the wisdom that she'd have, but the role that they had her in, they slid me into that role, whether I wanted to be in that role or not. But in every element of my family, I was slid into my mom's role. And they just expected from me what they expected from her. I was no longer the granddaughter.
Makes sense.
But at the same time, the respect wasn't there. I was still the granddaughter as the level of respect as far as like, you just do what we tell you to do. Now, if I was my mom, none of that would have happened like it went down. But with that pressure of them just like, not even pressure, just they assigned me, I got the same discardment that she got, and I didn't even realize it until years later. And I remember her telling me that growing up, like about all of the different just ways she felt discarded and not valued. And as soon as she died, it was like, oh, this is what she was talking about. Because I got somehow slid right into that role, and that was even more like disheartening because it's like, hello, my mom's the one that died. Do we know that? Does anybody know that? Because it never felt like that. It never felt like it was my mom that died. It felt like Courtney's mom died and Nick's mom died. It felt like my grandma's daughter died.
Right.
I never felt like I got to feel like my mom died. And every time someone saw me, it was like, how's your sister? Where's your brother at? How are they? Nobody ever asked me how. I mean, to this day, very few ever ask, how are you doing with that? How was that for you? They have no idea because everybody was so focused on the baby, which I get. I totally understand that. But that was the start of me seeing like, I am really just with people that I'm not with. I'm here, but I'm not getting anything from that. And I was so young that I didn't really know that's what was happening. And I didn't know how to like address it or even just identify it. I just thought this is what had to happen. I thought this level of like toxicity was just normal and that we had to just go through with it. And it wasn't honestly until I started seeing you putting up boundaries and saying like, this is not making me feel good and I'm not doing it. I don't have to do that just because we share the last name. I don't have to be miserable just because you say you love me. That does not mean you get access to me. And I'm still working out exactly what that's going to look like. But I do feel good where I'm at now. I mean, you're only in when I want you in. And I let you in where I let you in, because I don't trust it. I don't trust that it's long term. I don't trust that it's because you really just want to be there for me. I feel like sometimes it's always about like, no, but see, we got to go. Maybe there is a level of obligation. I don't think I'm the chosen or the one that they're like, yeah, we're rocking with her. Yeah, they do. They rock with me. If I need them, they'll show up. But when it's time to really to rock, are you going to be the ones to rock with me? Yeah. And that I can't say yes to.
Yeah. That's a damn shame.
You know, one of the things that drew me to your family, because I'm sure we'll talk about your family. For one, your parents, the way your parents were with each other, I was just enamored with that. Like, your dad was so doting over her. I never saw my dad like that, ever. Ever. And I knew that I did not want that. I wanted my husband to want me in public. And I remember specifically noticing my dad was never like that with my mom. But even just as you guys as family members, I would see you and your brother and sisters playing around, hugging on each other, kissing on each other, just sitting on the couch, laid up, cozied up with each other. Like you and your little sister. Me and my little sister never did that. My family has just never been a very affectionate family. We hug at the beginning of the visit and we hug at the end of the visit. We'll all be piled around, but everybody's just separated. There's no all this. Yeah. And inside of me, that's how I am. I am so snuggling and cuddly and just want to be all up in your armpits and just smell you and hug you and let you just love on me. We've just never been that. So even now, I think the grandkids are wanting to be more affectionate with each other. So we make sure we hug and do those things. But your family just had it so natural, this natural affection that I just always admired so much that I never saw in mine on either side.
Outwardly affectionate. Outwardly affectionate. That shit was fake too, but we'll get into that. That shit was fake too. But what people saw was that. So I get what you mean.
And we have a closeness. So I don't want it to seem like there's not this level of closeness. But it's a lot of surfaceness. It's not a lot of depth to it. There's a lot of family members that I know don't know me, and I know I don't know them. I don't really know what your life is like. I don't really know who you are. I know the parts you show us, but you just show us that family blanketed parts of you.
Let me ask you something. You say you guys are close or whatnot. Is the closeness just only related really to the fact that you guys know each other your whole life and so you know everything about each other?
Well, I think the closest comes from familiarity.
Yeah, that's it. But it's not like you just said. You don't really know a lot about the person.
No.
You guys get together and y'all know history. Y'all know all the memories. Nostalgia. Yeah, so you could talk about that.
And the commonalities. There's the stuff I was saying for you. We can go to my grandma's house and just sit in the living room and point to probably 10 things that would make us all bust out laughing. We could just point and all have a story those kind of things are what I think is necessary for people or family. And we have those. But from, I would say, past any adulthood, I don't really know them people.
Yeah.
And I know they don't know me. I know they think they know. I think they have an idea of what they think they know. But it's because I know how much they don't know me is how much I know I don't know them. I'm not going to extend myself like I was because I felt like I was chasing it. Like I had always chased it. And I'm not doing that no more.
I feel you.
It was rah. Everybody was all around. I'm like, oh my God, you guys are so great. And we had one family member invite us to dinner to celebrate our union, which was super sweet. And we loved it. Her house is amazing. And she, of course, treated us like kings and queens and family.
Yeah.
And I would say the two of them because they always do their little things together.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've had one set of family that invited us. But and I'm not saying you had to. That's not why I'm saying that at all.
No, you're saying that because they said we should do this and it never came into fruition.
Or when he came home, it was all like, yeah, I can't wait to get to know him and meet you guys and all this stuff. But okay, well, we've been here. Just like we've been here this whole time.
Yeah.
And we got the same energy. So it's like,
Yeah. 100%.
Then just move on.
It is what it is. It's that family dynamic is very constant, especially within the Black community, right? And I'm talking about where there's a lot of fronting going on.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. There's some tight knit Black families out there doing well for each other.
When I'm talking about them, my heart just
yes.
Can I just interject? Don't forget what you're going to say. Ahead. You were talking about tight-knit Black families. Every time I see the tight-knit Black family, but anytime I see the father that is that has a relationship with his grown children, that it just tears my heart. Like, not in a bad way where I'm like, oh, I want my dad. No.
Yeah.
It's more just like, damn, that's what that's supposed to be like. You're supposed to be friends with your parents now. Like, y'all supposed to be kicking it and really just sharing with each other and helping each other grow, because now, I can contribute to your life in a real way and vice versa, where we could really just do this.
Right.
And then it's like, I'll see some of my friends or just people I know, and they'll be hanging out with their parents. Like, they'll choose to go and do events or activities with their parents. And I always thought that it was kind of weird. Like, what are you doing hanging out with your parents all the time? But when you have healthy relationships with your parents and your parents are cool, when you have like really dope parents and they're parents that are like wanting to see you be better and you guys can just have fun together, I really have some envy about that.
Yeah.
And I don't have anybody in my family as a example of that either.
Yeah.
I think people are close and they have their own little family units, but there's not the level that I've always sought for myself. I haven't found that.
No.
But whenever I see it, like, they'll have these TikTok videos of the dad that takes the time to learn the little dance with the daughter, and they do like their daddy-daughter dance, but he does like they actually do a choreography, or like the dad that's just so excited to see his grandkids, and him and the daughter are close because of the grandkids, and they spend time together and just meet the dad at work and bring the grandchild and bring them lunch, and they really incorporate their parents in their lives as adults. I think that is so cool.
Yeah.
And not just because they need a babysitter. No, like let's plan. Like the family we saw that went to the game, they were all sitting in front of us.
Yeah.
And I was like, I bet you the grandpa was like, I want to take all my kids and my grandkids to the game, whether he bought all the tickets or not. But everybody was there dressed up, just having a family event.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that would be so much fun.
Yeah. Well,
I would love to have that.
It ain't happening. It ain't happening. But I know what you're talking about, though.
I think that I've been praying for adopted parents, not necessarily the adopted parents, just like I want an older brother and sister, like mentors that I can just be like, hey, how do we do this? Or hey, how's that go? Because it's my big age, I still be having questions that it'd be like, I could use a parent right now.
Yeah. 100%.
But I haven't had one in so long. I don't even know where all the benefits could be.
Well, the sad thing that I see all the time is that you have families where, mom and dad, when they feel like they get you to 18 years old, they did their job. And in respect to those that do feel that way, I'm not saying that's right or wrong, because I ain't never been a parent, so I can't say that. But my feeling on that issue is that you need your parents more when you're grown than you do when you're kids. Now, when you're kids, you can't defend for yourself. And there's a lot of things that you have to be kind of sheltered as far as, being protected from the world. But when you get to be an adult and you're a young adult out here and you're about to go into this world, you need guidance. And so you don't step in certain potholes, because now the consequences of stepping in them potholes is a lot bigger once you're an adult.
Yeah.
And so when the parents that have the mentality that, oh, you're 18 now, I did my job, you go ahead and go, I think that's doing the kids a huge disservice, because they need parents once they're grown to show them how to navigate through this world in the workforce, how to pick friends when you're grown, because picking the wrong friends as a teen is two totally different dynamics, right? So now you're grown and you're picking the wrong friends, and you need a father or a mother to say, from their experience, like, this is how you pick friends, people who are going to love on you and going to help guide you and tell you the truth. Yeah,
but at the same time, I saw my mom with a lot of friends. We know she's no longer here. That man, I have never seen him with no friend. So how would he be able to teach me that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's part of why I don't have the bitterness anymore, is because I explain it to you. When you, and I don't want to say this is like me coming for someone or trying to talk down, but if you know that someone has limited capacity, and let's say that they have a second grade reading level, you're not about to hand them no Harry Potter book, because you know that's not what they can do.
Point I always make.
So I'm not mad at any of them. I still can have the hurt, because sometimes it's just like, damn, y'all just really left me out here.
Yeah.
But I'm not bitter, because I realize what their level is. I've realized what my dad's capacity is. I've been known that. And I'm okay with him doing what he's doing. Like, I feel like that's the best for him to do. And while it seems like everybody wants, or especially specifically him, he wants he wants acknowledgement for all the things he contributed well in my life. But you also have to take acknowledgement for the stuff you didn't contribute well to, and that you actually intentionally tried to hinder.
Yeah.
And when you can't do that or acknowledge any of your part in how you've tried to intentionally hinder your kids in a negative way, that shows me your capacity. I'm not going to have a conversation and try to make you understand, because you've shown that this is where you're willing to understand. If not anything else, I'm gonna let you have that, sir.
Yeah.
I'm just let you have that. It's okay.
But like you were saying earlier, you said he told you guys that he's not mourning anymore and he's moved on. And I honestly, anybody, man, male or female in that situation, that's your right to do that. But it's the way he did it. You know what I'm saying? And that's part of what I was saying about, when parents say you're 18, your brother and sister wasn't even grown yet. You know what I'm saying? And you were just in college. But there's a difference between discarding your kids and that's how they enter the world versus you getting them a gentle shove and encouragement to get into the world.
Right.
That's how he should have did it.
Right.
If he was done and he really wanted to move on and he still had an obligation to gently push you guys and guide you into the world and say, go ahead, don't be afraid.
He
but
dropped
it was just
that
like
obligation off on everybody else.
Yeah.
And it was only unless it benefited him that we were a necessity. And normally that was just a control thing. And my sister was the pawn for that. But, when someone dies, I will say this, and hopefully I don't cry about this. But when someone dies, it really lets you see everybody you're around. It takes off every mask that was ever there, because people show you who they really are. And I remember the focus always being so much on my dad and his horrible behavior, because it was so horrible that, that was what everybody was focusing on. But there were so many other family members and their behavior was atrocious to me specifically, or just the situation. And that is when I really started to see, that was the beginning of like, Creed is all I have. That is the only thing I have. For one, that's not changing. But then two, who has not one time made me feel like I was not the priority. You're the only one. And the same people who were telling me, you shouldn't be doing that, or he's probably just going to use you, or this is not smart decision, or you need to be living your life and doing all these things. They're the ones telling me that I should be doing all of this, when they're showing me, you're not even showing me how I should be treated. You're saying I should have a better for me, but y'all aren't doing better for me. So if this right now is what is giving me what I'm not getting from you at all, why would you not even, I don't know I guess I don't know. It's just like, no, I don't, you're not right here.
It's a contradiction.
It's a huge contradiction.
It was a contradiction that you lived in, because once your mom passed and your pops did what he did, you spent a lot of time around those people.
And I don't want to just breeze over my dad doing what he did. When I tell you, it was years of this man acting a full ass donkey and doing everything he could to bring down his own kids who did nothing to him, did nothing to him but lose their mother. So I get why all the attention was on him, because he's done some despicable things that still are despicable. Just to think about him, we're like, dude, why would anybody who's a human do that? But I really believe that because he was so loud, it quieted all of the other mistreatment. Just a lot of mistreatment that was coming from adults.
Yeah.
And it really showed me, like, your mom would have completely been there to fight for you. And the only other person that would do that is now locked up behind bars. And you are out here doing your thing, and you have to keep doing it, and you have to keep pushing. And I have to say, I do think that they are part of why I kept pushing. So I don't want to make it seem like they didn't contribute anything good. I do know that a lot of why I'm the way I am is because of them, but it also was a lot because of, it was despite them. It wasn't because of them. It was despite what they were doing to me that I became what I am.
100%. 100%.
So, I don't know. This episode or this topic was not one I was avoiding. It's just one that I don't think is going to make everybody feel that great about. And I don't want it to feel like something that I'm harboring or that I'm holding on to. But that was a real part of this journey. And I played a real role in how I was able to do the journey. And I don't now feel like, because you might feel uncomfortable or even myself, that doesn't mean that part needs to be not shared, because people are, not just because people are asking me, but because it's like, wait, how did you do this all by yourself? Or did you do it all by yourself? Or who else do we need to say, good job for holding her up?
Yeah.
And as much as I wish that they had have been there for me in a different way, I can't say now exactly what it would have looked like, but I have a whole bunch of like ideas on what that would have looked like. And I know now when I have family that needs me, how I want to show up for them.
Yeah.
And also, it's just part of growing up too. So I don't blame them.
Right. You're just sharing.
I'm just sharing my experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I hope the world gets that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're good people. I feel like we have good bones. But we're very different than what we were when we were growing up. And we're very different than the image that I had of us as we were growing up. And I just kind of had to come to grips with that and understand, like, yeah, we are those people, but we are not those people.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Everybody's just grown up, and we deal with each other how we deal with each other.
Yeah.
And I really am trying to put energy in people that want to put energy in me. And the ones that are okay with discarding me, I appreciate you telling me, because I don't have to put any of my time or energy in that anymore. I can move on and not have any guilt. And that is what I'm operating in, is guilt-free happiness and guilt-free joy and guilt-free me being me. And like, you like it, you love it, or you just leave me the F alone.
Like we was talking about the other day, as far as that discardment thing, like it's, understand that when you God's, right, and you moving away, he wants you to move, and you're including him. He's in your life, and he's involved in your thought process. He's involved in your spirit. He's involved in your growth in your soul. What may feel like discardment is actually him making or allowing the person to do these actions so that person is pushed away from you. And a lot of times we're like, damn, God, why did that happen? And God is just like, I'm telling you, like, I allowed that to happen so this person gets away from you. You, once, like we were talking earlier, didn't have to do a damn thing.
I did. Y'all, when I tell you, like, he's so right about that, because there was a situation that I had been praying about for a while. And it was one that I was just feeling like bonded to. Like, I don't feel joy here. I didn't feel good about it. But it was like, how do you break this up? How do you walk away from this and not just be the asshole? And I had been praying, like, God, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want this. I don't want this person. I don't want this. But it was also one of those things that, like, you just kind of you can go with the flow as long as you go with the flow. But I didn't want to be going with the flow anymore. And when he is ready to remove somebody, like, you don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
You don't have, they will do all the work for you. And I think that originally it was a shock, because it was like, wait a minute, you're walking away from me?
Yeah, right.
But then it was like, oh, wait a minute.
You're walking away from me.
That's what's happening.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. I literally asked for that, and then here we go. So it's so weird, because while there's hurt, it's so much like, I am so glad when people really show you how they feel about you. So then you don't have to work in this level of like limbo, or in my people pleasing fashion of just being around you because it was what you do, or because you're related. When you don't feel like you want that, or you don't feel good from that relationship or that union, you're not feeling like it's filling you up. You don't feel the trust that you've wanted to feel, but you felt an obligation because maybe you weren't the best family member at one point, and you for me specifically, this is me talking, I was not the best family member at some times in my life to certain people. And when I realized that, it was almost like I felt obligated to really show like I atone for that, but also I am trying to be better and want to be better. But I only want to do that with people who want to do it with me. And if that's not the case, I'm glad that I am grateful and thankful and appreciative. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how it should work now. Just tell me you don't like me, and then we can move on.
That's like, but those actions are indicative of everything that you said, right? The way that you were discarded by the older members of your family when you were younger, that same thing happened here. That
the younger members.
I'm saying discardment, right? And so then when that person decides or thinks they decides that they don't want to be around you anymore, that's the same way it happened like 2008.
It is, which was like...
And so the only thing that changed is your perspective. They never changed anything. They've been doing the same thing.
Exactly.
They follow the same culture that's in this bloodline. The only thing that changed is the way you look at it, because you were too young and too tight-knit with the family to see it and appreciate for what it was and do something about it. Like, I'm cool on y'all. Yeah. So
I think that he's done that with quite a few people. He's removed from my life. And like I said, I don't want it to sound like I'm saying I'm so grateful, as like, I'm just so glad that they're just out of my life. It's not that I'm saying I'm grateful about. I am so grateful for the release, for the opportunity to not feel obligated, or the opportunity to not feel like I owe, or that I have to keep trying,
or that weight,
or the weight, or to keep trying when I don't feel like it's suiting me. But because I wasn't necessarily always the best, I felt like I had to do that, or because there were gestures that were given that were indicative of someone that really cares or that gave a damn. But even then, it was hard for me to trust the intention, because I saw the action that led to it or led up to it. But then when you try to just ignore that part, and even you were just like, you don't have to do this. You do not have to open this door.
Yeah.
But I felt like I had to do that for me. And I opened it, and there was moments where it was like, okay, this feels good and comfortable. But there were so many moments where I was like, no, this is warnings all over. All the red flags are here. But that people pleaser in me that just keeps on pushing or keeps on going through. And I didn't know how to not do it. And so I gave it to God, and he not did it for me.
Yeah, that's exactly. He not did it for you, huh?
He not did it for me. And what I will say is that what happened after, like, it's made room for more people to come in and more opportunity to come in. And it was almost like, it was just like, let me move this out of the way so you have space. So you have the energy, so you have the love, so you have the inspiration, the motivation, the want and desire to have these people in your life. And I just, that's what I'm grateful for. It's not like I'm saying I'm grateful that they're out of my life. It's not that at all. Like, I think that's always going to be a thing where it's like, nobody wants someone to say that you're not good for me, or I don't want you in my life. But I can say that too. So whatever it worked for me, I think that it did the same for that person. And that's what I think why God's so cool, is because we both might need to be removed, and we got what we needed. And now we can do what we need to do, and it just be that, and not be like or I don't want to be around, or I don't have to do that. I can just be like, okay, this is what it is now.
Yeah.
See you later.
But also, you have to remember that you have all that blood in you, right? And you grew up in that. So it was highly probable that you were going to treat people the exact same way, that you were going to think the same way, act the same way they did. So what ends up happening is you get to see it, you get to experience it, and then you learn from it. You realize it's not what you want. God removes the person. So going forward, people that come in your life, you treat differently. And that bloodline doesn't matter anymore, because you don't do that. That culture doesn't matter anymore, because you don't do that. You seen what it's like, and you just decided, I don't want that. I don't give a fuck if that's my family or not. I don't care if fuck if these my people or not. I'm not acting like them.
Yeah, I think I think that I think the only part that sometimes I think sucks with family is when, you know, for me, with all of the relationships that I'm trying to build, I'm really trying to be transparent. And like, I'm not perfect. The whole reason that I want to be friends or us to hold each other is because I'm not perfect. And I want us to be able to have those conversations and say like, I don't like that you did that to me, or I don't like how this made me feel. Mm-hmm. And that's really important to me. And when I decided to open the door, that was the conversation that was had. And I really took that to heart, where I thought that I could say, I don't like this. This doesn't make me feel good. And that now it would be received and just heard. Mm-hmm. It don't even have to be that you agree, but just heard.
Yeah.
And same person, same discardment, same breach of contract, basically. Mm-hmm. And
what?
I don't even know the words. It's just like,
yeah.
You know, when someone's already shown you and you knew what they were about, and why are you trying to see something different in somebody? Mm-hmm. And I said, like, please take it away. I don't know how. And he did. And I just have to really now learn how to understand why it's okay for people to be removed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, honestly, you had to see the family dynamic is different than the friend dynamic. And when the family dynamic happens and you see it, you accept it, you come to terms with it, and you're at peace with it. And now going forward in life, it's not going to be hard to do that. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be hard to see it in people. It's not going to be hard to let the people go out of your life because you did it with somebody that you grew up with mm-hmm. and were very tight with. Spent a lot of time in your adulthood together, and you're able to release that person.
With love, respect.
Oh yeah, for sure. And good intentions, good wishes, well wishes. Yeah, mm-hmm. for sure. Yeah, let's make sure we reiterate that. Yeah, for sure. All well wishes to everybody. You know what mm-hmm. I'm saying? You just don't deserve to be here.
Exactly.
That's fine. There's a lot of people don't deserve to be here, but for sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, the best to you.
So, what about your crew?
My crew's a little bit different, you know what I'm saying? So, I grew up with a different type of family. My family's from the block. They from the street.
Y'all, thank you so much for watching. This is a long video, a little bit longer than we expected. So we wanted to cut this right here to give you guys an opportunity to take a break, go do something else, and come back next week to get part 2. Part 2 will dive into Pookie's family and their support while he was locked up. So until next time, y'all, thank you so much for being here. Please come back. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share this out. But make sure you also stay black, stay beautiful, and blessed. And we will see you next time. Y'all, talk to you later. Bye.